We are live, everyone. Welcome to this little session of Meet the Sponsors, our sponsor interview session for Social Media Fest. Now, Social Media Fest is happening on the 26th of November 2025 in Wexford this time round. So if you haven't been to Wexford before, or you just like to go down to the sunny southeast, even if it's not sunny, it's really lovely down there and we would love to see you. But today we're talking to Linda Monaghan, and she is the founder of The Habit Boss. It's lovely to have you with us here today, Linda.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yes, well, tell us, what is The Habit Boss? Why did you start it? We'll get into all of it. What is it, first of all?
So essentially, it's a business mentoring coaching service for creatives. So I am diagnosed with ADHD. I was in corporate for 15 years and I spun plates in corporate and experienced burnout a number of times. And I just decided that I was going to go into the wellbeing space. So I opened my own Pilates studio, and that was for about 5 years. And then I said, I don't like this, and this is the ADHD. I prefer business. So I decided to merge the two and kind of bring the wellbeing side with the business side. And that developed into Corporate to Calm, which is still my podcast. And then that evolved into The Habit Boss because I was attracting corporate clients with the Corporate to Calm. And I really, even though it's quite lucrative and maybe from a business perspective, not the greatest strategy, I didn't want to be in that space. I wanted to be helping people who are developing businesses, who are in business maybe 3-4 years. I wanted to help them with their, at first it was their confidence with their business, with the setup of their business. And it's just gone into every single lane in the back end of the business. So it's essentially supporting the systems for social media. It's supporting business setup systems. And it's given people who are in business, like, as I say, only starting out or in business 5 years, giving them license and permission to do stuff that they've never done before. So they might be experts and they might be doing their own social media, but actually that social media is, huge, but is the message getting across? Are people converting into sales? And in a lot of cases, it's not. It's kind of like white noise out there. So I kind of step in with strategy to help them bring that across the line. And so many other areas. I'm a typical neurodivergent, and I'm a typical Taurus. I think I know it all. And I'm okay. Most cases I do. No, it is.
I think it's very important aspect that you're covering there, because a lot of people, and talking as a woman in business, we don't look after ourselves. We're always going, we're constantly going. And I'm thinking about myself right now that I'm here in Northern Ireland and our tax return is due. You guys have had it a couple of weeks ago, but ours is due now in the end of January. But my accountant is going, no, you need to get it to me now. And I'm that whole, procrastination, and it'll happen eventually.
And the buzz of the last minute, sending it in at the last minute.
Yeah, but I know, like, I really should do it in a more calm and collected manner, because otherwise it happens every year. I forget something gets left out, and you have that stress. But it's also the stress and the adrenaline that brings people. Absolutely. And that's what they crave, and that's what they're looking for.
And you know what? I think that's so true. What I've come to realize is that I step into a business, and because it's all bespoke. My system that I set up was the CALM business method. So basically, that group program, there can be so many different people in that, but they all get something completely different out of it, even though I'm teaching the same thing. And then when we go into a one-to-one scenario, it's even more it's even more bespoke. But the one thing is going in and, maybe getting that adrenaline from something else. So having the system set up that the admin side of the business, the posting on social media side of the business, things like that are, set in stone, and they're going on, whether it's a weekly basis, it's a bi-monthly basis, it's a monthly basis. You have these things that are ticking over, and you're working with, you know, your social media systems, and you're working with your own real estate as well. And then the adrenaline and the like, you know, the kind of
Yeah.
procrastination comes from the creativity that you love. So actually setting up a deadline for yourself that it's something that is going to drive sales, but it's something that you get joy out of as well. Because I don't think a lot of us get joy out of putting through a tax audit, or, you know, you know what I mean? So if you had a system to kind of push that, and a lot of it, like when we start the CAM business method, it's kind of at the very start, it's like, what's the journey and how are we going to get there? And then as you go through it, it's really assessing what is your time to you, and like, is delegating that time better than, you know, or is it delegating that service, or is delegating that task, and you're better off kind of looking at what you do best. Do you know what I mean? And I think
Yeah.
what happens, I think they're so good at it in the States. I think in the States, and people that I've worked with in America, like, they're just like, oh my God, yes, I'll spend that money, because they understand they're going to get it back tenfold. But I think there's maybe a lot of history in Ireland that sometimes we don't like to spend money on ourselves. And it's a case, I think that carries over into business as well. And anybody that I've worked with, they always leave me going, oh my God, why didn't I spend this money? Whether it's with me or whether it's with somebody else, why didn't I do this earlier? Because I think that's the realization when you are serious in business. The moment you start investing in you and investing in your business, that's when you see the reward, because you cannot do everything, and you cannot kind of throw money out there and expect to kind of hit, unless you have strategy behind it, unless you have
Yeah.
marketing behind it, unless
Marketing. Yeah. Yeah.
everything, you know.
Yeah. And you're speaking my language there, because, you know, I run my own podcast as well with my co-host, the Monday Morning Marketing Podcast, and we're always talking about strategy. We're always
Yeah.
talking about these things. But I think to a lot of people, like, the mentality here in Ireland is, it's always like a catch-22 situation.
Okay.
It's, I'll do that once I get the money in.
Yeah.
When I have money, I will spend it on improving and moving forward and outsourcing and, you know, delegating and everything else. But you can only get so far
Yeah.
before you hit that brick wall of, I really needed to have somebody in place
Mm-hmm.
6 months ago, so that now I don't have to spend the time training them and doing this and the other and everything else. And then you're just like, well, it's not worth it. I'll just do it all myself anyway.
Yeah.
And I'll just stay this size, and I'll not grow, and I'll not. And it is that, you know, you're shooting yourself in the foot,
Yes.
but we do it all the time, guilty as well, you know.
All the time, you know. And the funniest thing is that we can be excellent. Like, every business, you know, has their, you know, their wheelhouse of what they're really good at. And sometimes it's realizing, actually, there's something just not connecting here. And like, I've worked with businesses who've had like over 100,000 followers on social media, and, you know, had lead magnets, but actually not realized they had lead magnets. So, you know, for people who don't understand the terminology, like, the thing you give for free to get people onto your email list, you know. And it was like, they essentially giving things for free without the reward of the email, you know. And it's the simple thing of setting that step up. And a lot of people, you know, the more they give for free, the more people expect for free as well. And that's when you have to start establishing your worth, and, you know, investing in, like, the biggest things I would say, like, for anybody starting off, or anybody who hasn't looked at that side of the business yet, is like investing in your own real estate. And essentially, you know, your email list is your own real estate. Because I know that, you know, the likes of Instagram or LinkedIn, and, you know, the example, I suppose, with Samantha as well, you know, with Twitter and everything, you know, you have that incidence where something could happen with that external platform. But if you start investing in, you know, your website with your email pop-up, or you have a small piece of training that you'll give to somebody if they give you their email. And that's why I found, when I started working with the likes of Flowdesk, which is probably about 3 years ago now, things changed because, you know, you can establish that automatic workflow that somebody connects to your email and all of a sudden they're getting 5 emails from you automatically that you wrote 3 months ago in relation to building up a rapport with them, you know, and then they'll get, you know, the odd email with something that creates community and everything like that. But that was huge. And when I introduced my clients to that, they're like, oh my God, this is like blowing my mind that I can have all of these emails. And it's, you know, bigger business would be like, yeah, absolutely, totally get that, going to invest in that. And then smaller businesses are like, okay, well, maybe I'll just have the emails and I'll set them to schedule send, or I'll set them to a flow in my Google, because there's levels for everything. Do you know what I mean? It isn't necessarily, you know, that you invest straight away into a big piece of tech or a big platform. You can build up to it.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say with Flowdesk at the moment, Flowdesk is one of the only email packages on the market that doesn't have capacity or pricing. So they have set pricing and they don't have capacity. So I worked with a client who, they had like 12,000 people on their email list and they were paying extra to have that function within their website. But their capacity was 50,000 emails, and not 50,000 emails per person, 50,000 emails for those 12,000 people. So they could only send 5 emails a month. Not even 5, 4.5, 4 emails a month. You know, and it was like understanding. And what actually we did with that client was they were paying an extra, I think it was 149 euros a month for that service with their site, took that away and they invested in Flowdesk, which was 35 euros a month. So they actually saved 120 euros and got something that doesn't have capacity issues, doesn't have and our fixed pricing, until the 2 girls who decided that they were going to develop Flowdesk. They did so in San Francisco 5-6 years ago, and they made the promise to themselves they're not going to, you know, put capacity. They're not going to. And guess what? That model doesn't work within email marketing because you have to invest in tech and you have to have the back rooms for that. So on the 28th of November, they're introducing capacity and price increases. So anybody that's even thinking about investing in email marketing, look at Flowdesk now, because their price, they are literally screaming about it. You have 15 days to sign up.
Yeah.
If anybody does want to sign up, I have a 50% off that I can send people. But you know, that's where we're going. We're going to these capacity. So if you can get in where there isn't any capacity, I would 100% do that. The other thing is, how do you get from your social media to Flowdesk? And is there something that you can automate in between? And again, there's solutions for that as well. Like you can have your automated message on Instagram or on LinkedIn. Like there's so many platforms that just send you, if you subscribe or you know, send a DM, or you get an automated message back, which is part of the platform. And then you can level it up with the likes of ManyChat. And ManyChat is phenomenal for people who are willing to invest, and it's only 15 euros a month as well, you know, and that literally just takes the hassle out of sending somebody a link. So, you know, when it's like people are like link in bio and everybody's like, oh, if you say link in bio, you're not going to get as much traction on social media, or if you say all of those, so many people, you see people comment at this, comment that, and that's essentially the to get the ManyChat link. But it just takes, you know, I worked with a client and they had a lead magnet, which was so impactful, so powerful, that they put it out on Friday and they had 3,000 new email addresses on the Monday. And the majority came through ManyChat. And they were like, imagine we had to sit there and go
automatic.
You know, so there's so many different things that we just don't even think about, you know, and it's like, sometimes we're speaking into the ether of social media, but actually what are we saying to make money if we're a business, you know?
Exactly. And it is, you know, there's a bit of input that you have to do at the beginning. You have to set it up. You have to know, like, you know, the triggers, as they call them, and making sure that everything talks to each other. But once that's set up, it's done. It's like a
Yeah.
one and done situation. So what would you say to people who are like, oh, I don't have the time to, go through and write a 15 email sequence or even a 3 email sequence, or I don't have time to learn
Yeah.
new tech? What would you tell them?
Like I would sit down and really, look at where you want to go with your business. And if if you're serious about investing, hiring somebody like me who is a coach who wants, or a mentor who wants to, build strategy and build vision for your path. Absolutely. And then there's so many other alternatives as well. You can hire a VA who is going to, like a virtual assistant, who will charge you by the hour. There might not be as much strategy involved or whatever, but they can tick that box for you if you feel, because there are so many, there's so many different types of us. There's people who see the long vision, and there's people who's like, I just want it done now, and I want to just, and they, possibly will implement it for you and everything like that, depending on their service. And then there's the DIYers who will look at YouTube and look at all the videos, and maybe ChatGPT can create that as well. It's really having that honest conversation, or honest, self conversation. But that's when I would say to kind of, maybe challenge yourself to come to somebody like me, because like sometimes we'll give ourselves the answers that we want to hear as well. So it's like, have an honest conversation, and have, like, a call with somebody, just to sit down and see, like, are you serious about this? Is this what you want to do? And go from there, because, as I say, there's so many, I think people get caught up in, it's like, I have to pay for this, I have to do this. And it's like, actually, let's look at what you're subscribing to now. Can we take something away?
Yeah.
Give something back? Is there something? Because, how many times have we gone free month of, and then month 4 you're like, shit, I didn't cancel that free subscription. 3 months down the line, you're still paying for that free subscription, which you open once.
It's very true, though. We do lots of things where we sign up for stuff and then forget that we've signed up for it. And unless you're, hyper vigilant, or I put it in the calendar because I'm very forgetful, to cancel something on a certain day, it does add up. I mean, even these, subscription models to everything now, and like you said, everything is going up in price, and we're just sort of trapped in this the cycle, because now we're so dependent on it, and a lot of people are actually scared of switching platforms, because what if I lose this, and what if I lose the other? And it's all the what ifs, and the fatality mindset that it's all going to go wrong, Murphy's law. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong. So are you there every step of the way to help people migrate their things from one email marketing platform to another, from one website platform to another? Are you there to help, or just assist, or what services do you have?
It all depends, and really, it depends on what you want to do, where you see that journey going. And a lot of the time, with me, it starts with what I call a creativity call, and it's literally 10 to 15 minutes. It's a free call, going through like what you want to get out of it. It's not intrusive. It just is like what you want to do, and then take a look at it, and I'll send a proposal back. And absolutely, there's people that I will manage certain aspects of their strategy on a monthly retainer basis. There's people that I do one-off work for, and then the group program as well, which is just, it's delivered in person, but actually there's a recorded version that I have to send out for people, because what happens when we all do live versions of courses, they go off in a tangent. So you're always better off having the actual real version of the course as a backup, and as probably an evergreen product as well. So yes, and obviously then just depends what's within my own capabilities as well, because I don't build websites, but I can suggest somebody to build your website, but I'll give you the strategy and I can help you with some of the copy and, the CTAs and everything like that. But I'm not going to migrate your website. I will, look at somebody that can do that for you. But as far as, the likes of email marketing, I work with very specifically with Flowdesk, ManyChat. I do a lot of teaching in relation to prompts on ChatGPT as well, because there's so many people that ChatGPT is the, to a solopreneur, ChatGPT is gold, because literally it's taken a lot of the weight out of it. And, it's the prompt, it's what you ask them to be different and to get that different answer. And to be honest with you, I always suggest, I do it myself, have the answer in your head and you put it into ChatGPT to give you something that will convert, maybe if you're not good at copy or something that, but I always think that, ChatGPT is a machine. It's not personal. It's not you. Oh yeah, people, you can teach it to talk like you. You're the one that comes up with the creative ideas. You're the one that comes up. It's really a soundboard, I would say, to bounce it. Is this the right, if you're not figuring out the hook or if you're not, but listen, it's not going to write a book for you. And if it does write a book for you, everybody's going to know, you know what I mean?
Very true. Very true.
We know you wrote that because of your end dash and your comma after the and. People can see that there's telltale signs, and not everybody fosters and collaborates. And there's always words that get so repeated over and over again. But it's not the devil either. It is such a useful tool for people. And I think, there's just so much out there, and it's really just, as well as that, assessing what you have and what you can work with. Like I worked with somebody who didn't have a website, and they were running a workshop, and they wanted to get 10 people into 2 workshops. And they had capacity for more than that, but they were like, no, I want to do 10. And they were really worried about filling out the workshop. Really simple, really great idea. Really worried about it. And we developed a Google document and her next time, and she'd sold 18 places into the workshop, but actually she decided she wasn't going to run 2 workshops. She ran 1. So she only paid for the investment into the location once and ran it with 18 people instead of 2 by 20. So she couldn't believe that instead of the back and forth on Instagram about have you availability, she just sent this link to a Google Doc and she put her bank details and a Revolut link and the money automatically. So it was like, I didn't have to have Stripe set up. I didn't have to have a website, and it's really getting real with people and honest with people and not trying to give them something or sell them something that they don't need. Because I see that so often. I had another client who literally cried on a call with me because they had changed their website to another provider and it just did not fulfill the brief, and it didn't fulfill the brief of their business, and they were losing out on thousands because they could not figure this out. And the terms and conditions that they'd signed, there was no service after. They were just left with this website that just didn't work,
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Yeah. And there's lots of stories like that out there, unfortunately, because people don't do their research, because we're very busy business owners, and it takes us a long time to work out even what we need before we even go and ask for any help. Now, talking about Social Media Fest, in less than 2 weeks, 10 days time, why did you want to get involved and support Social Media Fest?
There was 2 primary goals for me. One of them was personal, because I am very much the introverted extrovert. And sometimes I can get into this place where I'm like working from home and I'm doing all this, and I don't push myself out of my comfort zone, to meet people and to interact with people. And, having a connection with people, because being neurodivergent, and I medicated for ADHD, but actually I'm ADHD. So I have that side of things where I go into a place and get extremely overwhelmed. So I know I'll go to Social Media Fest, have a blast on the day, and then I'll be out panned out for like 3 to 5 working days afterwards. And but it's preparing yourself for that, and being really excited about that side of things as well. So that was the one thing. It was really pushing me outside my comfort zone. And then the second thing was just seeing the value in it, and having heard such good things over the past couple of years about it, and really wanting to meet people that were so invested in their own businesses that you know they were willing to take time out of their businesses and go to an event where they're just going to learn. They're going to learn about social media. They're going to learn about the different platforms. But for me, it's like we can all do that, and it's just bringing things full circle and understanding that 100% post every day, or post or do this or do that. But being in a room where you're going to meet people that are going to give you strategy behind various platforms, and then people can come and talk to me and go, actually, this is how I connect that to what I have, as well, and the language and everything like that. So it was to fulfill a brief of not being a hermit for the winter, and take that bus, and then just as I say, to be in a room with people that I suppose inspire you, not motivate you, because I think it's more inspirational than anything else. That it's kind of being in a room where people are your peers, but there's people maybe behind you that you can take by the hand and bring with you. But it's so important to be in a room where there's people ahead of you as well. And I think that sometimes that's where the ego comes into it. It's like, oh, I know, and it's like, no, you don't. You don't want to be the person who knows everything in the room. You want to learn from people on the stage, and that's what I'm excited for, is actually listening to people and understanding, oh my God, this can add such value to my business and the business of people in the room as well. So 100%, so excited about it. It's great. Yeah, look forward to it.
Great. Yeah, because you mentioned ChatGPT, and we will have somebody speaking about AI, and we'll have someone talking about Reels, and we'll have, that one's actually an interactive workshop.
Yeah.
So I think we're all expected to do Reels, which freaks me out.
Anybody
that knows
me,
what?
I just
hate doing videos.
But isn't that? And I have so many clients that I'm just like, oh my God! But you know what? You don't have to show your face. Some of the most exciting reels that convert, it's seawater with a quote in the background, that way, and it's understanding what works for you as well.
Exactly, and that's again part of what, whenever we look at who's going to speak on stage, we look at all of these things. And our topic this year is beyond the scroll. So we're wanting people to stop scrolling and see what's behind the posting and the strategy and everything else, and what it takes to make people stop randomly scrolling on their phones, because there is so much chatter, and we get overwhelmed just by going on social media that we sometimes turn it off before we even find the gold. But that's our theme for this year, going beyond the beyond the scroll. And you will be there on the day, and you will be in the room to people. And just before we end off, just to remind people that it is in Wexford, in the Talbot Hotel, on the 26th of November, which is a Wednesday. Lots of us go down the night before. We have drinks and chit chat in the lobby and in the restaurant. So do feel free to come down the night before and meet some people. Especially if you're local to Wexford, come and join us there. Other people stay the night after because they decompress and they like to have a little downtime before traveling home. That's also an option for you. But in the meantime, Linda, where can people connect with you if they want to learn more before meeting you in person?
Oh, well, 100%. I'm the Habit Boss across all social media platforms. So if you just Google that, or go in and search that in Instagram, and yeah, if anybody wanted to book a call, it's all in there as well. And yeah, if anybody, even before that wanted to, sign up for a flow desk, because we're running out, I'll be shouting all about that, because that's on the 26th, and then flow desk is on the 28th. So we'll be talking all about that as well. But yeah, the Habit Boss across social media, and I have, plenty of freebies there, so you can get the 10 systems that every entrepreneur needs to start off. So there's a nice list there on my Instagram, my TikTok, and my LinkedIn. So take a look.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Linda, for joining us, and thank you for supporting Social Media Fest this year. Thanks. Take care now. Bye.
Bye-bye.